We Are Wild channel. On behalf of the team, Jay Schumer, I got my partner.
I am Shaq.
Here with me, and today, before we get into this informative, dope video, my brother, physically and mentally, I just want to understand how you feeling. And we always ask that question because so many things can transpire in a week. You know, a message or a phone call could change the trajectory of our week. So, you know, physically, how you feeling? Mentally, how you feeling? How your family feeling?
Oh, my family is good. I'm good. Thanks for asking. I'm like a 9 all across the board. But thank you for asking, man. Mentally and physically, I'm all the way good. I have no complaints.
Man, I'm feeling blessed mentally. I'm feeling blessed physically. I'm feeling blessed. I'm just blessed to be here, you know, fellowshipping with you again. So our word of the day is be intimate, meaning a strong feeling, passionate, or being intense. And our topic today is the tips and advice for new real estate agents. So I guess describe all of these words in our word of the day, be intimate. You know, she was intense and very passionate as far as being a point guard in high school. She transformed that into accumulating her master's, her undergrad, and her master's degree, being intent and passionate in that. She's also a beautiful songbird, but she's very passionate about that as well. And also in her new venue now, which is real estate, being a realtor, she's intent and passionate in that as well. So we are our family. We want to introduce to you Miss Beautine Hilliard.
Thank you for having me. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing well. We appreciate you for being here. Appreciate your presence, for fellowshipping with the We Are Wild fellas, man. So just to jump right into it, because that's one thing about this channel. We want to dive into great information. Our first question is, you know, please tell the audience about your upbringing and what propelled you and what fueled you into diving into real estate.
Okay, well, I'm originally from Savannah, as James stated. I did play basketball. I was a Bulldog, class of '04. I graduated from Savannah State, and just, trying to find footing in life and trying to figure out what it was I wanted to do in the long run. And I've always had a thing about wanting to help and find a way to create generational wealth, because I knew that I didn't want to clock in on somebody's clock every day for the rest of my life as an adult. One day I drive for the school board as well. And I was driving, and I was just sitting there, and I was, contemplating on what my next steps were. And so I prayed, and I just heard the Lord say real estate. I immediately got online to find an online course, took the course, met with a couple of brokerages after I passed the test, and just fell in love with what everything Scott Realty was doing in the community, as well as it being a Black-owned real estate company. So that's kind of what drove me into getting into real estate, is the desire to have generational wealth.
Thank you so much. And how you just illustrated for as you took that advantage, you took that initial step. You know, obviously it might have been scary, it might have been frightening, but you know, you seen far as what the potential, and you had a goal in mind, which is create generational wealth. And you took that initiative, and you know, you started your real estate platform, your real estate career. So we definitely appreciate you for, you know, dispersing that to ourselves and also to our audience.
How you doing today, Miss Beautine?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm okay. This Shaq Harvey here from We Are Wild. Thank you for joining us. Piggyback off the question, you know, oftentimes you hear the stories about every real estate agents, that what they go through as far as their failures, their trials and everything. So if you could just talk about what was the first 30 days, you know, what was the first 30 days as a new real estate agent feel like and look like for you, if you want to describe that feeling?
I can start from a financial standpoint. The things that they don't tell you while you're actually taking the class is, once you pay to take the test and you pass, and you get a broker to hold your license, because you have to be under a licensed broker, you have all of these fees that are initially associated with becoming a realtor. So you have your city of Savannah, which is the Savannah MLS fees. Then you have fees that you have to pay to the state for the Georgia MLS. Then you have your lockbox fees. You have some fees in regards to errors and omissions insurance. So you don't really know all the information going through the program. You find all of that out. So from a financial standpoint, if you don't have any money saved up, I would advise, if you are thinking about becoming a realtor, to at least have a couple of thousand saved up, just because you might not initially get a sale in your first 30 days. At our office, we are required to do two open houses as new agents. You are required to do two open houses a month. So, you have to provide some type of refreshments as well as a gift card or a gift basket or something. So you're spending out money. Then if you have a client, you have to take them around and show them houses. So you got to include, your gas and your time. So from a financial standpoint, save as much as you can save so that you will be able to afford those fees and not be so much in a shock is in regards to what all is associated with it. And from a sales perspective, you're going to run into people as a new agent who are not as confident in your abilities to provide them what they need because you are new. Sometimes, they'll feel that you can't provide them with the attention that they need. So they might pursue a different agent. But also as a new agent, you should get with a broker who is going to have your best interest at heart, because you don't want to run into a situation where your broker is undermining whatever you're trying to establish, because that is common in a lot of real estate firms where, sometimes you have to fight tooth and nail against the people that you are supposed to be working with in the office to, survive. So those are just some things to be watchful of in your first 30 days. Just try to find you the best fit for you from a financial perspective and from a ethical perspective.
Thank you so much, Ms. Beautine, for bringing that up. So you mentioned from a financial standpoint. So how did you get your first deal fast as a new real estate agent, if you want to get into that?
Like I said, my broker, she's really big on helping her new agents to, achieve whatever goals and aspirations they have. Because of her experience in the industry for, decades, she was able to secure a lead service that we use, which is called Opcity Leads. We have the ability to get clients who we might not have the opportunity otherwise to engage with. And so I was able to get a lead from that service, and they were cash buyers. But the process was, it was a little stressful at first. I am like a timely person. I try to be, on time for things that I have going on. They're like a time management. But the first sale was with another agent in our office, and it was a cash offer. Like I stated, they were investors, and we were able to beat out some other offers that came in higher because of the relationships we established within the office. We closed, I think, in like 12 days after we were under contract.
So Miss Beautine, my brother here, right here, Shaq, he jumped right into as far as the sale portion, but I want to go back before and ask you as far as the process and the difficulties that comes with as far as attaining your real estate license. Because I know you had to go through some trials and tribulations, some up and downward spells just to be able to get your certification, to pass the test, because we also see far as it's very rigorous, it's very it's very hard and rigorous. So if you don't mind, sharing your experiences.
I work 10-hour days for the school board, so I could not be off in time to actually sit in a physical classroom at the school, a local school here that we have in Savannah. So I found they had an online program, so I was able to sign up for that, and you move at your own pace. But you do have 6 months from signing up to actually complete the class and take the state board. So I completed the class in the 6 months, and the first time I took the license for my relative license, I think I failed by like 5 points. So and this was all during COVID, as a matter of fact, and so at like pre-COVID. So then I took it a second time, And the second time I failed by 2 points. So I kind of got discouraged because each time you take it, it's like $125. And so, I said, I'm a buckle down. And I found this guy. His name is Joe. He is an agent in New York, I believe. And so I found his video on YouTube. And so while I was at work, anytime I had a free moment, I put my earbuds in and I listen to his videos because most of it is vocabulary so that you'll know the proper terms to use when doing a contract. And a couple of questions are actually math. And everybody knows how to calculate their money. So the commission part of the test, that's easy peasy. But when you're talking about trying to calculate interest rates, or if someone has already prepaid property taxes on the property that they're selling, how much money will be returned to them from the buyer. So that part was a little, stumped you if you were not as math savvy as some others may be. So on the third time, each time I went in there and I prayed, but this third time, I was like, God, I done did everything that I could do. And at this point, it was I just had to go in there and trust that he was going to provide me with whatever I need. And I passed by like 2 points. And I think that probably was the happiest moment because at that point, I was like, okay, now I don't have to pay this. I don't have to. I think after the third time, if you fail the third time, then you have to retake the course over, right? So the course initially was like $475. So I would have had to pay a whole another $475, wait another 6 months and then pay another $125 to retake the test. So it was just like, okay, God, you done did it. Now point me where I need to go. So you have opportunities to pass, but if you're not ready, and I thought I was ready when I initially took the first two tests, but if you are not 100% certain that you're ready to actually take the test, then I would just, study as much as I can and not rush taking the test because you want to see how fast you can make dollars.
Now you mentioned, wow, commend you on that. Now you mentioned the struggles. I'm glad you passed the test. Glad you became a real estate agent. Now you mentioned, your advice on someone who thinking about taking a test and the trials and just the amount of the cost of the test. And, I did my research a little bit on real estate, as far as real estate agency, and it brought out a report that says certain conversations lead to possible contracts, and contracts can possibly lead to a certain closing. So do you feel like people who are trying to get in that field, that industry of real estate, becoming a real estate agent, do you think they need some type of coach to guide them before they just jump right into real estate? What's your take on that?
I think you can use a coach or a mentor, however you want to, you would like to word it, because there are people who have been doing this and have been successful at being a realtor and were able to just focus on that full time. So I think it would be wise to get a mentor. I wish I would have gotten one prior to actually getting into the course and doing the study and everything. That way I could have had someone to, pick their brains and kind of get an idea of what I was in for. So I would recommend that someone either get a mentor or, try to find someone who they could kind of model themselves after.
Definitely appreciate that, Miss Beautine. As you said, as far as trying to find a mentor, trying to find someone that's experienced in this field, and as we created this platform here, trying to find guidance, trying to find a great mentor to lead us in the right direction in the brand new avenue that you're going down. So one question I have is, obviously we're in 2022, inflation is crazy, the housing market is outrageous. So home ownership, it is vital, in today's society. So what are the essential steps for someone that's looking to acquire a home, as far as their credit, their DTI, how much should they look for as far as with down payment? and available programs that should be out there for them. Obviously, we know about the FHA. You have the FHA 203K loan as well, the NACA. So many programs out there that people can qualify for. So if you don't mind, expounding on that just a little bit, as far as, the housing market and currently where it's at right now, and then also the programs that's out there for individuals to take advantage of.
Prior to me getting on this call, I did look up the current interest rates, and at one time they were down in the threes. And as of today, they have, for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, the interest rates have soared to 5.268%. So that goes from you saving $45,000 over the life of a loan to you not saving probably half as much with the interest rates going up. And in regards to what I would advise someone to do who is thinking about purchasing a home, the first thing you need to do is make sure that your credit is as close to or above a 620 as possible. If you have like little smaller items on there, try to make sure you take care of those items, get them paid off. If it was something that was charged off, get a letter from that collector saying that it was, taken care of and it was satisfied. I would also recommend that you get with a local lender because they have programs that you might not find with Quicken Loans or Rocket Mortgage. A lot of local lenders have programs that they can offer for down payment assistance as well as closing costs. As far as there's a new program that just came out. It's called Chenoa, and they will give up to $8,500 in in down payment assistance. For those who are having problems trying to save that amount of money. Also, you have the Savannah Dream Maker if you are local. That is based off of your household size as well as income. So the trick to that is the more people you have in your house that's not working, like your kids, and the less money you make, as say if you are a one income household and you have 2 or 3 kids, you're more likely to qualify for the top dollar. At one time, they were giving up to $65,000 towards down payment assistance, and that was for areas like Summerside, Can Park areas, some areas by Savannah High, where they are trying to revitalize those areas. So in those particular areas, you're going to get the most. Now, if you're trying to move out to Pooler or the Georgetown area, you're probably going to get $5,000 for that program. But then you also can use the Georgia Dream program as a resident of Georgia. So they also give you money towards down payment and closing costs. And I think you have to either be a teacher, someone in the medical field, law enforcement, or any field that's like a public service field. So you have that program. And as James mentioned, you have NACA, which is a program that is funded by Bank of America. And their interest rates are, I believe, 2.5%, right? So with them, even though they pull your credit score is not a factor on you getting approved or not. And they will cover the down payment and the closing costs. So sometimes people will have enough money for down payment, but in this market, since it's a seller's market, sellers which would in the past would pay the closing costs are not willing to pay closing costs. So the closing costs usually cover the fees charged by the lawyers, the real estate lawyers, in regards to documents that they have to file at the courthouse, searching for title, making sure that whoever's selling the property is legally able to sell the property, loan origination fees. Your lender is going to charge you for a credit report. That's going to be included in your closing costs. They're going to charge you, like I said, the loan origination fees as well. But Bank of America funded NACA program will actually cover all of that. That program, however, is a lot more time consuming than going a normal financing way through a regular lender. You have to usually do like a 3.5-hour counsel session at first. And then it could be like 6 to 9 months before you even get qualified to even start looking. But you don't have to come out of pocket with anything. And usually your first payment is not due until 45 days after you sign your name on the dotted line. So you can save, money in your pocket through that program. If you're not in a position where you have to up and move, if you're renting or what have you. We also partner with a group called Landis. But with them, it's a rent to own program. And so with the rent to own program, you qualify, you do everything like you would do a normal mortgage. You will put in your, submit your credit check, submit your pay stubs, your W-2s, stuff like those documents. And they will say, okay, well, James, you've been approved they've actually gone up. Now they can approve you for $500,000. So at one time, the max was $250 and then it went up to $350. So now with them, you can get a $500,000 house, right? But it's a rent to own. So you pick out the house. They'll pay in cash, and then you set up a rental payment with them until you can get whatever amount of down payment that they require for 6 months, 18 months, however long you guys work it out. And then after that time frame, then you sign your name and they sign the title over to you. And now you're making mortgage payments instead of making rent payments. But if I had to choose out of the different loans that were out there, standard loans, I would probably go with the FHA. And the reason being is that the down payment is 3.5% as opposed to a conventional where you have to put 20%. In some cases, you can get away with 10 depending on R5, depending on what the lender can work out. But with the FHA, your property taxes and homeowners insurance is wrapped into your mortgage payment. So you don't have to worry about, a big tax bill on December the 31st, right after Christmas, or trying to figure out, how can I afford to pay my homeowners insurance, because they're going to require that. So I would, if all else fails, I would try to go for FHA just because you won't have to worry about writing 3 separate checks every month. And one reason people do lose their properties are because they can't pay the property taxes. It's not that they can't make the mortgage. It's just, they paid the house off, but they didn't pay the taxes. And so now you go down to the courthouse and, they auction off your grandparents' property that they worked all of their lives to afford because somebody was irresponsible and didn't pay $500 worth of property taxes. So the FHA would help negate that while you're actually paying the mortgage. Now, once you paid it off, to keep your parents' houses in your family, just somebody need to be in charge of paying those property taxes. I hope that was valuable information.
No. It was very valuable information, and how you just illustrated it for us with the grandparents' house and just paying the taxes, $500. We spend that on so many things in the world: shoes, clothes, materialistics. So, and that's how you create generational wealth, just keeping it in the family. Obviously, we see other people, they do that as well. But with the FHA, I know you said that's a very great loan. However, the MPI that you have to pay on the FHA, do you feel that it's worth going down the FHA loan requirements? Because if you don't have 20% equity into it, you're going to have that taxed on MPI that you have to pay on every month. So how do you feel about the FHA and MPI?
I mean, I understand that. I think it kind of depends on whatever your financial situation is at the time. So if you don't have the 20% that you can put down, but you have, let's say on a $100,000 house, you put 3.5% down, I think that's like $3,500. If you have the $3,500, but you don't have that 20%, which would be what, $20,000 or so, then the PMI, you paying that for until you get that 20% equity into the property, and after that, you don't have to pay it. So, I mean, it kind of just depends on what is best for your financial situation. And you can also keep in mind that even though you don't have the 20%, you could, your first house does not have to be your dream house. That could just be like your stepping stone to getting you to where you want to be at. You stay in there for a few years, fix it up, flip it, rent it out, and then you get your dream house.
Well, thank you for bringing that out. You definitely help the viewers as well as myself get steps and tools on from a financial standpoint and the sell point. But in fact, one of the things you mentioned is taxes. I even read in a quote one time that even when you pay your house off, right, you still don't own it because you still paying property taxes on it. So thank you for bringing that out. Real quick, I got two questions, but I'm not going to, the producers have asked that we're crapping for time. So I'm not going to bombard you with too many questions, but so let's go back because you mentioned about the whole 620 credit. So if somebody is out there from a viewer standpoint, for WOI standpoint, if somebody has a 625 credit, they have the credit, right? But dive into the deep debt ratio. What if they overhead just can't reach a mortgage, but they have the credit, but far as the finances wise, they don't have enough income coming in after they pay their bills. They might have $300 left, but their mortgage might be $900, but they have good credit. Is there any type of resources out there that will allow them to help, or do they just need to find more job? They might need to enhance their 100% in earnings to reach that level so that they can get a good house. What's your take on that?
I did mention the 620, but I worked with a lender who was able to get somebody approved with a 580. So the 620 is what the ideal number is. And I understand that, sometimes even though your credit, because I've been in that situation where my credit score is like a 740, but I got student loans. I was told my car note was too high, right? So that was the only thing that was holding me back. And so you run through the question of, do I refinance my car note? And the payment might be lower, but then I'm back stuck at more years than what I've already paid off? Or do I just play the waiting game and see what it's going to be? But I had one situation is that if you could get somebody that you trust, like, my mom is the person that I trust. So if it's a situation like that, then it's a time where she knows that I'm gonna do what I need to do. You can get like a family member to be like a co-signer. And even though their name is not on the deed, or you can get them to co-sign, and then once you get the paperwork, then you get some documents drawn up, and that can be drawn up actually in the office. So after you sign or whatever and got your keys and stuff, you can talk to the lawyer, the real estate lawyer, and just kind of see what actions you can have to either get them to sign the deed over fully to you, or you can try, or you can go for some years and then refinance it, and maybe your financial situation has improved, and so that way you can refinance it and take their name off. They always say two incomes is better than one, depending on, especially if two of them are going to get you what you need. So sometimes a lot of parents will be that second co-signer or that third co-signer just so that they can help their child get, over the hump. And I don't see that often in our community, but I've spoken to some people in other communities, and that's kind of how they've gotten their first home. Because I'm like, okay, I make more than you. You got more debt than I have. But when my parents, signed for me, and then they signed the house over to me. So it's ways to get what you need, even if your finances are not where you would like them to be. You just got to be able to find somebody that is willing to see the vision that you have and buy into what you're trying to do.
Yes. So, Ms. Beautine, thank you for your response. One of my last questions is, for the viewers that's out there that's looking to become a realtor, what are some of the steps, what are some guidance that you can provide to them regarding becoming a realtor and just taking that leap of faith and the vision that you have, that you currently are right now as a realtor, and they might have that same vision? What are some steps and guidance that you can give to them along the way?
The first step would be to find a program that works for you and study as much as possible. The second step, I think, which is probably more important than finding a program that works, is finding a broker who is a teaching broker. Especially as a new agent, you want somebody who is willing to share information with you and who is willing to give you knowledge. So where my broker at the brokerage that I'm at with Scott Realty, we have training classes as new agents that you after you take your test, you have a training class that you have to take. It's a 4-session class. I think they're like 2.5 to 3 hours each. But it teaches you how to correctly write a contract. It goes over listing appointments and different things that you would encounter as an agent. And you want a broker who is accessible that you can call and say, okay, well, I got this situation going on. What should I do, or how can I handle X, Y, and Z? And that's what I've experienced at Scott Realty. I haven't worked at any other brokerage, so I can't speak on them, but I know we are always in the helping business where I'm at. So if I don't know the answer, I can always reach out to someone else that knows the answer. So I would say get with the company that is going to help you get where you're trying to go. And make sure you check those office fees, because you don't want to be paying like $500 a month in office fees and you don't have no sales, because you're really not going to make no money at that point if you're paying out and you're not closing on anything. So let the money make sense for you.
So, I mean, thank you for bringing that out. You definitely brought some informative information that I wasn't even aware of. Definitely seems to those who are seeking it, and viewers, if you're at home, pretty much she brought up about Scott Realtor. And I did my researches on them, Ms. Beautine, and they one of the top real estate agents, management agency in Savannah. And you're right, they do talk about training and talk about commitment and talk about, commit to be your best, train to be your best, believe to be your best. So, for all you viewers out there, I'm sure you can co-sign with me saying this, you can't be a quitter and you can't be impatient if you're trying to be a real estate agent, So, but that being said, real estate for me, my last question, I'm gonna wrap it up. You can briefly kind of touch on this. Real estate, from a real estate agent standpoint, we always hear in the news, it's a marketing. It's all about marketing and it's all about promoting. It's all about advertising and stuff like that. But with that being said, do you think your skills are the absolute most important part of the business in getting a good closing deal? Do you think your skills has a lot to do with it?
I think the skills play a part, but sometimes it might just be a simple touch of, you being patient with the person. I met a young lady through my broker who she said a lot of agents went and talked to her because she wasn't pre-qualified. And so she chose to work with me because I was patient enough to explain the process to her and provide her with lender information, and everybody else just turned her away. So sometimes I would say 95% of the time it's your skills, but 100% of the time it's the way you treat people. When you build that, rapport with people, then you can get repeat clients because they'll recommend you to somebody else. Or when they decide they want to sell, they'll be like, well, she treated me with the utmost respect when I didn't have my stuff together. And so, why would I go with somebody else when I know that I'm going to get the same level of respect if I'm paying $100,000 as opposed to if I'm paying $1 million, I'm still going to get the same level of treatment. So I think it's more how you treat people.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
As you stated, Ms. Beautine, respect. And we respect you for your time, respect you for your courtesy, for taking your time out on this busy day to communicate and give game not only to We Are Why, but We Are Why family as well, which is our viewers. So we appreciate you, and we also look forward to having you back on the show to discuss on the investor side as well, because we need to dive deep into that as well. So we appreciate you for your time.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. You guys were awesome.
if you don't mind providing, your social media platform and where can you be contacted at?
My social media platform is on Facebook and I'm on Instagram. It's Beautine Francis Hilliard. And my contact information is 912-507-0123. You can call or text. And our office number, the Savannah office, is 912-349-7766. And then we also service the South Carolina area as well. So you can reach out to that location as well. Or you can go to Scott Realty website and find my picture and click on and get information that way.
Well, you heard it, viewers. She gave you her phone number. She gave you her contact number. Her email is no excuse. It's no excuse. She said it right here. Even if you weren't watching in South Carolina, she gave it right here, so it's no excuse. So we thank you so much, Miss Beautine, for your time, your effort, your energy. We definitely look forward to having you back on our future episode.
Thank you. Look forward to being back.
Well, we are our family. This is it. I'm your brother, Jay Schumann.
And I am Shaq.
Because we are why?
We are why not.